Hey guys, what's up? Got another gameplay commentary video, and it's story time. Yeah. Only one story for now, but if I have a whole bunch, I'd tell a good number of them in one video. But for now, just one story. So this story, guys, is a story of my first summer job ever. Outside of summer classes, for things like preparing for the SAT tests, I never had a productive summer, nor have I had a job before. So following my first year at high school, after 9th grade, I applied for a Summer Youth Employment Program, or SYEP for short. Now, while the idea of working for money sounds nice, I had a very sheltered mentality, and preferred a place that was close by to my house. The neighborhood I lived in before I moved to my current house at the moment wasn't really ideal, and staying out for long periods of time was always a bad idea. At the main SYEP center near my home, I applied for a job that was relatively close to my house without actually looking at the location. Getting to this place took me 15 minutes, which to me at the time seemed ideal. But things didn't look up for me, as I ended up taking a job at a daycare center with a bunch of my coworkers all being, well, non-Asian. I stood out like a sore thumb, and I felt really pathetic for choosing this place. The neighborhood this daycare center was located at also gave me very bad vibes, so whenever I was done, I would rush home ASAP. As for working there, I barely did any work. The only job I recall doing was cleaning up the schoolyard and dragging trash bags for disposal. And these were one-time things. It wasn't like I kept doing this as work. I think it was a couple of days in when I felt really uncomfortable in this environment that I chose not to work at all. I noticed some extra flights of stairs that led to the unused upper floor of this daycare center that had a whole bunch of bicycles. So whenever I went to work, I'd bring my Game Boy Advance and went up these stairs and stayed there the entire time until it was lunchtime and time to go. None of my coworkers knew I went to this place. I even overheard them one time asking where I was since they don't see me working. I got my first paycheck and probably a second one doing absolutely nothing but playing my Game Boy Advance when going to work. While this sounds sweet, in reality I was bored to tears just going to work and getting rewarded for doing absolutely nothing. This continued until I accidentally gave away my face to one of my coworkers who looked up and found me at the stairs, but I didn't see him. The next day he brought one of my other coworkers who also saw me up there when I was too busy playing my GBA to notice them. And inevitably they ratted me out to the manager of the daycare center, who told me to GTFO and report to the SYEP center. I was fine leaving that place. I didn't want to work there or go there anymore. Going to SYEP center was the best thing to happen to me though. One of the workers there was present to interrogate me about my insolence for not working. So on the spot, I actually started choking and tearing up, then cried in front of her and told her a sob story of how my coworkers scared me and made me feel like not working there. I remember her face suddenly changing the moment I cried. It went from an angry face to a "aw, you're just scared" kind of face instantaneously. The best part was that I didn't plan for this at all, and the tears just naturally came to me, not because I wanted to cry, but because I was crying on purpose. After telling her my sob story, she told me to stay in the center for a while, and that she would have a talk with some of my coworkers. She also decided to give me a job at the SYEP center, and the center was just an 8-minute walk from my house. I was thinking to myself at the time, could this day get any better? When it was lunchtime and I left the SYEP center, I noticed my coworkers from my former workplace there. They saw me, but they were talking to that worker there, and of course they couldn't say anything to me. But I so wanted to give them an evil "eat it sucker" smirk, but of course I had to keep up the facade of being scared by them, so I just left. When I went back home for lunch, I was screaming "hell yeah!" and I recovered instantly. It actually scared me how naturally my tears came out without me actually being moody or depressed at the time. The irony was that my job at the SYEP center was the exact same, and I barely did anything other than the occasional paperwork, and still got the rest of my paychecks that way. And that's with the folks at the SYEP center monitoring me. My new coworkers also didn't do much either, so it wasn't as though I was the only one sitting on my ass doing jack shit. But I got a new workplace and a better environment to boot. I did have one good but embarrassing memory of my former workplace though. Remember when I said I took out trash bags? I didn't notice, but I actually dragged my giant trash bag over a spike on the ground, so I was actually spilling the stuff out of the bag. I wasn't aware of it, but the cars on the street watched me dragging this trash bag with a giant hole in it. Eventually, they honked to get on with it on the road, so that's the only reason why I knew they were watching me. I didn't care if they laughed their asses off at this dumbass dragging this trash bag with a hole in it. I thought it was pretty amusing. I caught their attention. After my first summer job, while I could have applied to SYEP again after 10th grade, I decided not to because I didn't want anyone who went to that SYEP center to recognize me, especially if they were my former coworkers. Of course, this meant that my summers returned to being completely unproductive once again. So there you have it, guys, the story of my first summer job. I did get to go have another job at SYEP again, but I'm trying for about the third and fourth time and I still have no success. So my summer will probably be unproductive as per usual. But I guess this means I get to catch up on the games I haven't played yet in my library. Yay! So yep. Hope you enjoy gameplay and commentary, and chase out!